So as usual, we already have a ready sketched canvas, and you will see in the images on the left and right are the photograph that I took in the city of Tulips, and this was like 1 week before the wedding. So my idea is to give this as a gift to the wedding and to the bride and groom, and I could like imagine this on their wall, and this is a very small painting. So I put water around the subject just to create like a turquoise background. I always wanted to have a little bit of color in the background just so I could work out on the details of the subject that I'm working at. So my main subject here is the tulips with a large color, and then these violet tulips will be like a little bit of violet, just as you have seen in the picture. Now I've worked through the different ways on by layer. So as you can see, I have a lot of patience, and you actually really need a lot of patience into this kind of watercolor painting on canvas, because the color actually sticks very fast on the cloth, and you need a blower just to work on this kind of painting. So just a quick tip I'm gonna give you, and then you lift. Okay, first is like drag, twist, and then lift. Okay, drag, twist, and lift. So that is my technique whenever I'm using a flat brush and I'm going in between the details. It is to drag, twist, and lift. Now I'm using the same brush to create like a leaf background whenever I want to have like a distant colors or a distant detail. So it's like drag and then twist and lift. Alright, so now as you can see, I've blown it with a dryer. So I'm gonna work now with a little bit of more darker turquoise around the subject. So it takes a lot of patience to work on this, since I'm gonna give it to the couple for the next few days, so I have to really do it meticulously and also in my own style. Now on this kind of painting, you can see how I worked on to different parts of the petals. First I put a light red, and I mixed my own colors actually. So basically aqua drop comes in 5 colors: the yellow, red, blue, black, and then white, and you must learn to mix them by yourself. So I'm gonna give you these pictures so you can go and download it if you'd like to practice with it yourself in watercolor. And just please refer me as your credit whenever it comes to the picture, and I'll be happy to give it to you for free. So closing up with the camera, you can see the details now much more clearer. I'm working by layers, so as you can see, you have to wait for the paintings to dry before you put another layer. And this is one good thing about this aqua drop, because the pigment are so strong, and you could dilute it with water so it will become thinner, so you could work on more layers. And that's actually what I did here. So basically I didn't need to worry because I have a strong light as well. I usually paint with a strong light on the top of my canvas or on my paper, so that the color will become much lighter. So always remember that when you paint, the color becomes lighter afterwards. Now, as I'm gonna wait that the flowers to dry, I'm gonna go through the leaves now for a while, and gonna take a color over these violet tulips as well. But my main subject here is of course the red one. And of course I do again my technique, which I flip the canvas up and down just so I could go through the details. Now we're gonna go to the small tulips, and to create a lot of these colorful yellow, I go through with wet on wet, and it will scatter itself on the canvas, so they'll just mix themselves, you know. That's the technique of this kind of painting. So I just go through the petals, but I leave a little bit of space in between them so that the colors won't actually go to each other and the petals will disappear, you know. So the edges of the petals actually are very important details so that you can recognize them. I think you can really see how I did it in this painting. So by the way, if you want to paint this in your own pace, you can actually just check how I did it in this fast-paced video. Or if you want them in a bit slower version, you can also pause how I did it. Because one good thing in painting is that you don't need to do it the same way like me, but just by the reference of the picture, you can actually portray it on your own. So that's why I can give you the picture just to do it by your own. And one tip that I also can give you regarding this watercolor painting is that the highlights that I'm using here, the white ones, is a gouache. Since the white color that is included in the aqua drop doesn't seem to be so lighter than what I wanted it to be, so therefore I use gouache. Gouache is almost likely to acrylic white. Well, you also can use acrylic white on this with a little bit of diluted water, but since my technique on this canvas is only watercolor, so I use the gouache. And you can already see the effect of the white one. It also blends among the background. Well, if you look at the composition of this painting, it looks already beautiful, but the background seems to be so flat for me. So probably later on, I'm gonna work on with the background. I just need to come up with the background itself. So like I tried to create some kinds of leaves here and there, probably just to complete the composition, you know, just so to show that there's a lot of things going on around the flower. And then I try to mix it with different kinds of surrounding colors, which actually I messed up in this at this point, and I really didn't like the way it turned out. So I tried to fix my stuff by signing it up first with the watercolor black, and then I'm gonna go back to the background because it's still wet, so I cannot do anything else. So now, as you can see, I'm just trying to complete some of the details on the violet tulips, just to put up the edges of the petals also, and to put also the pollen stuff detail in the flower, or I actually don't know what it's called, but well, you know what it's called. So now it looks so beautiful, but for me it still feels like a mess on the background, so I'm still working on it while trying to cover up some of the dark tones in the painting. There where there's dark, I make it more darker, and there where there's light, it should be more lighter. So aside from the tones of light and dark, I try to go back on the small details that I also forgot, and those are the things that will complete the picture. And now I'm trying to create more mess. Well, actually, all these kinds of mess I tried to do, but finally I got the right background. I wanted a splash. That's all what I wanted. Oh, splash is satisfying. I hope that you have enjoyed this painting, and see you again on the next art.
Shadows overnight, and onto them you shine bright, cause inside your head, on goes the light. Ignite, play the intuition upon the stars in the night that glisten. To you they listen, to be you is something I'm wishing. Listen, do your own math and learn from the stuff that you are missing. Create your own path with your own vision.